All right, let's talk about one of the most powerful programming languages out there, C++. How do you even begin to tackle it? Well, today we're going to map out the entire journey, from writing your very first line of code to building some seriously complex stuff. And our guide for this whole adventure, it's the amazing, super comprehensive tutorial series over at learnc++.com. So let's jump right in.
You ever look at a cutting-edge video game with mind-blowing graphics, or maybe even your computer's operating system, and just wonder, how in the world did they build that? Well, a lot of the time, the secret sauce is a language that gives developers raw power and absolute control. And that language is C++. It's the engine humming under the hood of so much of the software we depend on.
So, why C++? Why put in a time? Well, it's because it's a foundational language. Learning it gives you this incredible performance and control that you just can't get anywhere else. And yeah, it might look a little intimidating from the outside. But the great news is, there's a really clear, well-traveled path to getting good at it. And that's exactly the path we're going to walk down today.
You know, the source material is super honest about this right from the get-go. This isn't a race. You're not going to become a C++ guru in a weekend. It's a journey, and it's going to take some patience. But here's the promise. With a steady guide, you can absolutely 100% get there. That's the whole philosophy we're running with. Every great quest starts with that first step, right? For anyone learning C++, that first step is all about setting up your workshop and, forging your tools. This first part, which is covered in Chapter 0 of the guide, isn't just some boring chore. It's literally the foundation for everything you're about to build. So this first big milestone is broken down into these nice, small, achievable wins. First up, you install your IDE, your Integrated Development Environment. Just think of it as your digital command center. Then you write that classic first program, Hello World. After that, you compile it, which is just a fancy way of saying you translate your code into a language the computer understands, and then you run it. And maybe the most important step of all, you fix your first bug. Welcome to programming. Okay, so your tools are all set up. Now it's time to actually learn the language, the basic grammar of C++. You can think of this stage as learning the individual spells that are going to bring your bigger creations to life. This is really the heart of the journey for any beginner. Chapters 1 through 9 are basically your starter spellbook, and this gives you a little taste of what's inside. You're going to master things like variables, which are just containers for your data, and functions, which let you create reusable chunks of code. You'll also learn about control flow, which is how you make your program smart enough to make decisions. This is where you really learn to speak the machine's language. Let's just zoom in on one of these concepts for a second. A function. It's not just a random blob of code. A function is a named, reusable tool that's built to do one very specific job and do it well. Getting comfortable with functions is one of those first huge aha moments that leads to writing clean, organized, and much more powerful code. And as you get these fundamentals down, something really cool starts to happen. Your whole perspective shifts. You go from being an apprentice who's just kind of following instructions and writing lines of code to being an architect who's actually designing these elegant, complex systems. This is where you start to see the real power of C++. Now, this is a huge leap in your thinking, and it comes in around Chapter 14. You move from procedural programming, which is basically just writing a long to-do list for the computer, to object-oriented programming, or OOP. Instead of just writing out a series of steps, you start designing objects, like a blueprint for a car or a player. These blueprints bundle together both the data, like the car's color, and the things it can do, like drive or brake. It's a total game changer. And here it is, the whole roadmap laid out. It's like the hero's journey, right? You start with the basics, just writing simple programs. Then you level up and learn to structure more complex data. After that, you dive headfirst into object-oriented design with classes, which we just talked about. And finally, you get to the really advanced stuff, where you master powerful concepts like managing your computer's memory directly. See how each stage just builds on the last one? It's a perfect progression. Once you get to these advanced stages, you unlock some seriously cool tools for your arsenal. Take Inheritance, for example. It lets you build a sports car class that automatically gets all the features of a basic car class, saving you a ton of work. Or Templates, which lets you write one piece of code that can magically work with numbers or text or pretty much anything you can throw at it. And Smart Pointers. They're a modern C++ feature that makes managing memory, which is one of C++'s greatest strengths, way safer and almost automatic. But here's the thing. The journey doesn't just end once you've learned all the advanced topics. One of the most exciting things about C++ is that it's not a static language. It's alive.
It is constantly evolving and getting better.
And this is such a critical point. C++ is not some dusty old language sitting on a shelf. The committee that oversees it is always adding new features to make the language safer, more powerful, and just plain better for tackling today's big programming challenges.
And if you need proof, just look at this timeline from the guide's appendix. I mean, look at that pace. C++11 back in 2011 was this massive, game-changing update. And ever since then, we've gotten a new version every 3 years, each one bringing powerful new tools to the table. So if you're learning C++ today, you are absolutely learning a modern, cutting-edge language. So, as we start to wrap up here, let's circle back to this amazing piece of encouragement from the source material. It doesn't matter if you've never written a single line of code in your life, or if you're already a pro in another language. This path is open to you. There's something valuable here for everyone, no matter where you're starting from. So there you have it. The roadmap is all laid out. The tools are out there, and an incredible guide is just waiting to show you the way. The only question left is the one you see on your screen. Thanks for joining me on this tour.